Allah, so let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear viewers, to our season premiere of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma, and today we'll be covering the very critical topic of confidence versus arrogance. And we'll be discussing this very pertinent topic as it relates to what's the distinguishing traits of someone who's arrogant versus someone who has self-confidence, and what are the implications relating to these two concepts. But before we get into it, we're going to begin by introducing our guests. To my right, we have Brother Yasir Al-Ashqar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope it's Eid Mubarak for all Muslims, inshallah, worldwide.
Inshallah. It's a pleasure to have you, Brother Yasir. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure, the pleasure's all mine. My name is Yasir Al-Ashqar. I'm from Alexandria, Upper Egypt. You know, I was living in Kuwait and India, Morocco, and, you know, been all over the place, and now I'm settling in here in Egypt.
Okay.
For the moment, so far.
So you're just a traveling man?
Yeah, you can say so.
Alhamdulillah. And we have the veteran of our show, Brother Idris. How are you, Brother Idris? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to hopefully, inshallah, seeing a good Eid and enjoying life as we had know it here in Egypt, inshallah.
MashaAllah. You just came back from the States. How was your visit?
Quick, actually. Fun, but very quick. It went over. Maybe I should have made it a little longer.
MashaAllah.
But alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. You miss Dunlap so much you had to come back.
Responsibilities.
Alhamdulillah. Going to our brother all the way from Fayoum, Brother Amr Abdul Al. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Brother Amr?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. It's always a pleasure to be in your company and the brothers' company, and I hope it's beneficial to all the audience and all the Muslims all around the world.
MashaAllah. Please tell us a bit about yourself, Brother Amr.
Okay, I am an English instructor, university level, and I studied linguistics in the States, applied linguistics, and now I'm here working as an English instructor in a private university in Cairo.
How's that coming for you?
Not bad, but might be leaving soon, like to another country.
Inshallah. Please stay with us, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Next we have Brother Ahmed Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Brother Ahmed?
I'm pretty good, all's pretty good, alhamdulillah. And how are you?
Very, very good. It's good to see your smiling face again.
Well, I'm Ahmed. I'm an English teacher here and preparing for HR diploma as well, and working in both fields, like fields, English teacher and HR, human resources.
Wow.
At the same time, so I like, because human resources like it when it comes to recruitment, selection, organizational behavior, and so on and so forth. So I like this field.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like the big Basha Mudir.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. So let's get right into our topic. We're going to begin with the question of how do you qualify or how do you define the terms confidence and arrogance?
Well, first of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we can start off by saying that confidence is a good thing, but arrogance is a terrible thing, not a bad thing. It's terrible. It can lead someone to wal-'iyadu billah, to Jahannam. So one has to be so careful choosing between the two and different, you know, putting the thin line between confidence and arrogance. And I think a lot of people have this misconception nowadays, especially. They confuse between both of them and say, I'm confident, while actually he's self-arrogant, you know. So that's a problem. Yeah.
Okay, Brother Idris?
Pretty much almost mirror what he said is that, you know, basically confidence is something, is knowing your abilities, knowing the blessings that Allah gave you and your strengths, and knowing it and applying it, not shying away from it. Of course, knowing where it comes from. So this will keep you balanced. And arrogance is, you know, the classic example that we have from Shaitan, you know. It's just thinking that you're better than everyone else for whatever reason. I mean, there's many different categories of these people who have arrogance, but at the end of the day, it's just basically believing that you're better than someone else for a non-valid reason. we have reasons why that Rasulullah told us about the person who has, better taqwa is better than the other person, but that's not arrogance. Arrogance is the negative reasons why you believe you're better than someone else. Because the person who has taqwa anyways wouldn't think that they're better than anyone anyways.
Right, exactly.
So.
And I even found that the shari'i meaning of kibr is someone who the truth has been revealed to them, but they reject the truth just out of pure spite. In terms of shari'i. So there's something interesting to add to the conversation. But Amr?
Yes, just to add to what the brother said, it's like Brother Yasser said the self-confidence is something good, but arrogance is something terrible. That's very true. Self-confidence, we can say that it's an acquired characteristic. It's not like you're not born with self-confidence. You acquire it through your life, through the acquiring or recognizing the blessings that God has blessed you with. But arrogance is when you start giving yourself credit of these blessings, like I made this, I made myself, this is all me. It's not
self-made.
Exactly. So you cross the line from being self-confident to being self-admired. So you admire yourself, be obsessed by yourself. So this is from my own point of view, the difference between you as a self-confident person, which is not bad, that's required, and you as an arrogant person, giving yourself credit for everything, not giving Allah any credit for what He had made you. So this is the point that someone has to be cautious of.
Brother Ahmed?
Yeah, there is a big difference between self-confidence and the arrogance. Like, for example, the same difference between the constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Like, for example, self-confidence, I trust my abilities, I trust my techniques, I trust my work, I trust everything in me. But the the arrogance, we can say, إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا. You will not be able to penetrate the earth with your legs, and you will not be able to be tall as the mountains, which means that you are still human. You have like limited abilities. You will not be able, like superior in your world. No big difference between the arrogance and the self-confidence. Self-confidence, you have to be self-confident in order to be able to cope with all the challenges you are going to meet in your life. You have to be self-confident in order to be able to pass in your career path. But the arrogance will gonna finish your life so soon. That's what I believe when it comes to my point of view, when it comes to this difference between the self-confidence and the arrogance.
Okay. So Brother S, I'm going to come back to you. What are some distinctive qualities between a person that shows confidence and arrogance? Is it something that's obvious, or is it like a slippery slope? Is it a thin line between a confident person and someone that's just plain arrogant? What are some qualities that they may possess?
Well, some people are pretty good at hiding their, downsides or negative parts. But eventually a liar has no legs, he can go nowhere. So eventually he'll be exposed big time. So don't worry about trying to expose him or focus on him. It'll show up right away, You won't need to put any effort in that. Why? Because he'll say so, That's the way of shaitan, like Brother Idris said. He thinks himself to be better than human, So he'll say it, Why are you giving? For instance, you could tell a guy that, oh, you did a great job, So the guy next to him, he's a little bit arrogant, so he'll be saying something like, oh, didn't you notice me? What about me? So like he wants credit for himself. So I think that's pretty bad. So one more thing, confident man will always accept criticism, no matter what. But an arrogant man will never accept it, and he'll turn this around you, and it's your fault, and I did nothing wrong, and everything I do is completely right, One more thing, it's a really big sin. I mean, people don't realize how terrible it is, because, like in a hadith, it said, wait a second, it says, لا يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من كبر. He who has like a piece of sand of arrogance, he will not enter Jannah. والعياذ بالله. So so kibr means arrogance. In Arabic, it's kibr, al-kibriya min al-takabbur. So that is a quality of the devil, shaitan, not Muslims, of course. we have everything that is good and bad, but we have to balance between them, and be aware of that thin line again of not falling into Jahannam. Wal-iyadu billah. Also, you can also say that most people who are confident, they tend to give credit to someone else. They don't like to say, I did this, you know.
So humility.
Exactly. They're so humble. Like a lot of prophets, we have examples from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Omar ibn al-Khattab. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was so humble that Omar ibn al-Khattab was so strong, he was so confident. He's a live example for confidence in a way that shaitan is afraid of him, you know, whenever he sees him. Why? Because he's firm on his, you know, he puts his feet on the ground whenever something's wrong is happening in front of him. And shaitan he doesn't like that, you know. So that's confidence. That's a good side of confidence. That's so far, yeah.
Okay, so I'm reminded of the hadith where the man came and was asking the Prophet ﷺ about the sa'ah, about the final hour. And the Prophet ﷺ asked him, what have you prepared for it?
Yes.
And he said, I don't have much of fasting and prayer, but I love the messenger of Allah. I love Allah and his messenger. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you will be with those who you love. And the Sahaba said that there was nothing in their lives that relieved them more than that moment, that particular hadith, because they weren't necessarily sure in their siyam and their fasting and their prayers and things like this, but they were sure, they were confident that they loved the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can you imagine? They were already promised Jannah, but they were still a bit fearful. You know, even with their confidence and how they did their ibadah, they still had that humility. Like Abu Bakr said, if my, you know, one of my feet was in Jannah, I wouldn't be sure I'm in Jannah until the other foot is in as well. So confidence, but just a dose of that humility as well. Idris?
Yeah, for me, I just wanted to clarify and add a few things that it's very important to know the difference between, you know, in English, you know, qibr and English sometimes doesn't always give you the good translation for what the meanings we're trying to get. So it's very good to, qibr, the best translation is probably arrogance. But it's important to know the difference between arrogance and what we have in English called vanity.
Vanity, sure.
Because being vain and being arrogant are very similar but different. Like the brother mentioned about, he mentioned something with vain, but he didn't actually label it. But it's like ghurur or ujb. This is all in Arabic, but in English we have the word vain. Vain is someone who thinks that the things they have, the talents, you know, whatever they did or whatever they're getting, is from themselves. Now, and that doesn't mean that they have arrogance, because maybe I think these things are for myself, but I don't think bad of anyone else. I don't think I'm better than you, but I think the money I earned is from me, from my hard work and everything. I did everything. Allah didn't do anything. It's from me. So this is called vain, ghurur, or, you know, ujb, and there's another word, I forget the name of it, but it's important to know the difference between the two, because they're a little bit different. Also, what you mentioned about what quality, I think a huge quality that people who have, you know, qibr or ghurur in them, they tend to be very stubborn. Very stubborn people. You can tell them, you know, this pen is blue, and they will argue with you from here to the kingdom ends that it's not blue. Even the most obvious stuff, because this stuff blocks the heart. It keeps, you know, it keeps you from, you know, as almost a punishment from seeing the truth. You won't see the truth because you see what you want to see. The heart follows what it wants. And if you don't control it, you know, and direct it, it can go astray. And the last thing is something I wanted to add on to what he said was about humility. Humility. You know, there's two types of humility. You know, being humble is one thing, but being humiliated is another. You know, as a Muslim, we should be humble, but you shouldn't be humiliated.
Yeah, sure.
You know, Allah says in Surah Luqman, where He talks about, you know, don't turn your cheek to the people. You know, what does He mean by that? Don't give them your cheek so that they can punch you in your face, you know, and humiliate you. So don't let, you know, yourself become humiliated, but you should be humble. Don't let people ridicule you and you just put your head down and you take it like a donkey. That's not the trait of a Muslim.
Yes.
It isn't. This is not from our religion. So you don't be humiliated, but be humble at the same time. So, and of course, we have the Arabic words of what, dhul and tawadu', which are different. You know, humility and humble. So.
Alhamdulillah. Very good insight, Brother Idris. Brother Amr?
Yeah, just to add to the qualities of the self-confident person, he is always a good listener. He listens to people, he listens to his friends, to companions, to work mates. He's open to advice. He's not that, like Brother Idris said, he's not stubborn. He will listen to you, like he will take your advice with a smiley face and try to be honest with himself. If he has this shortcoming, he will try to change it. But if he's arrogant, he will not, like, you're talking to the hand. You know, if you're telling him an honest advice, he will not listen to you. He will not even admit that he has the shortcoming. He's not wrong. He's never wrong. But the self-confident person, he knows the good qualities he have. He knows he has. He knows the bad qualities, or not the bad qualities, but the shortcomings in his character. And he's he's honest with himself. He will try to take your advice, put it in its right place, and try to change himself to the better.
Alhamdulillah, good insight, Brother Ahmed.
Yeah, my words were going to be like pretty similar to my brother said, but you reminded me with a situation happened before. Like we were just used to work in a call center. I was a trainer in a call center, and I got a person working as a call center agent, answering the inquiries and a lot of things to the customers. I just wanted to tell him about the best way to be able to save something called AHT, average handling time, in order to avoid any kind of penalty or something like this. He started to reply, "Oh, seriously? Really? Okay, thank you." The way of talking, like my brother Amr said, talking to hand. He's not a good listener. He's not willing to apply what you have said to him. He doesn't have anything to add or to apply. However, he's not qualified. I know that he's not qualified. He's a new trainee. So in that case, what do you think? I'm telling you to do so just to be able to get the best time or the best way in order to finish your work. By the end, he said, could you please keep your advice to yourself? So in that case, I believe this person, this is like the real example of being vain, real example of being arrogant. That's why I just noticed that persons are not that, or don't have the ability to listen to the others, will ruin their lives by their hands. That's what I have.
I just want to add one thing.
Sure.
Yes.
It just reminded me of being with some of my teachers when I was learning under them and seeing their behaviors. For a person who's confident in the right way, a good sign is that when someone, like my teacher would get these youthful talib al-ilm would come and like try to say things to and talk to the sheikh, and he already knows this. He knows the answer. And you get youthful, they thinking that they're doing something or saying something the sheikh doesn't know. He knows, but he listens to them anyways. He doesn't say, shut up, I already know. He listens to them as if he did, and they don't, and they get the feeling that he doesn't know. And wallah, he already knows. But he's so humbled and so confident, he's trying to teach them, this behavior. It's part of learning adab and akhlaq. When they gave him advice, he would listen to it like and smile, shukran. Take the advice, and he already knows, but the behavior would show that, this is real confidence, a good side of confidence. For the person that can take advice when you already know. Even though I already know your advice, and I'm not going to reject you and just say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I know what you're saying, but give it to me anyways.
Exactly.
I can take it. Like Umar ibn Khattab used to take when the woman was advising him, and the companion were like, what? This woman's talking to you like that? This is summarized, and he was like, this woman can advise me. She helps me. So he took advice. I think it's a good quality. A lot of us have to work on, because sometimes in this day and age, when someone comes to advise you, if you're not in the right mood for it,
Yeah, sure.
you just don't take it. Your brains are already turning off. Even though this advice may be good, you're just not in the mood for it. Or maybe the person doesn't come at you doesn't give you the advice the right way, and you don't really want it. But the advice is good. So even if the advice comes to you in the wrong way, we got to learn to start taking it. Because the advice itself is good. Maybe the vessel and the approach was bad, but it doesn't change the advice.
Sure.
So what's good for us is good for us.
Now I want to, next question I have for you, Brother Yasser, is talking about how does one develop self-confidence? Because, arrogance is a sickness, but I think a person that doesn't have confidence in all, that's lacking confidence in themselves, that can be equally, in certain situations, detrimental. And I'm led to think about a story about a young boy. This is one of my favorite stories that was told to me. There's two young boys, they were playing on ice, right? It's like a bad idea. It's going to go bad, right? They were playing on ice in the middle of nowhere. And there were two young boys, they were about 8 years old, playing on ice. And of course, one of them slips in the ice and falls. So now he looks around, there's nobody around to help him. He's like, help me, help me, help me. And there's nobody around to help him. So his friend is drowning. So he runs to a tree, the biggest tree, climbs the tree, breaks off the biggest branch he can find, and runs back to his friend. My friend is still swimming, trying to get out of the water. And he looks around like, can I get help? Can somebody help me? There's nobody around to help him. So he begins to beat the ice. He's beating the ice and beating the ice. He can't do it. He's like, somebody help me. There's nobody around to help him. He beats the ice more and more, and he's getting more desperate. Finally, he breaks the ice open and rescues his friend. Now later, when people came, they said, how was this 8-year-old young boy able to climb a tree, break a branch off, bring it back, and break the ice open in time for his friend to still be saved? And an elder gentleman said he was able to do it because there was no one around to tell him that he couldn't. So when you have self-confidence, when you believe in yourself, there's certain things that you can do that is completely amazing. But what would have happened if there was someone around to tell him that he couldn't do it?
He wouldn't.
He wouldn't do it. He's like, oh, I guess I can't do it. So confidence in many ways is a social construct. If someone gives you the idea, if they plant within your mind the idea that you can do something, that you are capable, that you are special in a certain way, you believe that because identity is a social construct. So how do we begin to develop our own self-confidence and also cultivate self-confidence within other people, like the way the Messenger of Allah did?
Alayhi salatu wasalam. I'm going to answer that, but first I have to say a few points. First of all, like the Prophet like a prophet, one of the prophets, I can't recall his name right now, but you know the incident, y'all know it. You know, there were two angels. They descended down. They went for the Prophet. It was a tribulation. It was a fitna. You know, just to ask him, just like what you said, Brother Idris. Just to ask him a question, you know, he was arbitrating between people in his tribe. Can anyone know his name, remember his name? Anyway, so they went to him and they said, you know, I have 99, you know, sheep and 1 sheep and this and that, you know. So Dawood, Prophet Dawood alayhi salam. So, you know, he was so quick to judge, you know. He didn't even listen to them until the time they were done. So he could balancedly, you know, with wisdom, to finalize the whole deal. So yeah, I understand. I agree. I totally agree with what you said. One more thing, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was so humble. Like sometimes, you know, remember that story when they were they were about to go for a war, and he lifted his shirt, and if I hit anyone, you know, just take revenge me now, you know. So, you know, I mean, who could do that? I mean, who does that nowadays? You understand? So, yeah, but it's different from humility. Humility is terrible. A Muslim is always strong. And put an example, just like an idol is Omar ibn al-Khattab. He was the strongest man in Islam, as we all know. So we should take his example. Of course, some people are so arrogant, they wouldn't even, you know, bow down to pick something they dropped. You understand? They expect someone else to pick it up for them. So that's how arrogance could get to. As for how to develop self-confidence, I'd say by, for example, today I was about to be late, you know, so I was on my way and I was like looking at the time, okay, I have 2 hours, I won't be able to make it, okay, I'm going back home, you know, I'm just going to call it off today. And then, you know, the guy I was with, you know, he said, no, you're going to make it, just, you know, and he pressed on gas and he said, and I'm here, you know. I wasn't, you know, I had nothing in my mind that I could actually get here in time. So you have to boost your confidence by believing in yourself. Don't let anyone put you down. Always have faith in Allah that you can do it. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِاللَّهِ. Yeah, always, you know. Istighfar, I say istighfar is a great way to boost confidence. Actually, lacking self-confidence could lead to a major problem socially, with your family, with your work, with everything. So you have to solve this as soon as possible, but don't let it drift away to arrogance. Because, again, it'll lead to Jahannam.
MashaAllah. Thank you for your contribution. Sure. Dear viewers, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back to continue this very beneficial discussion on confidence versus arrogance. See you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanallahi. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Go ahead, Ya Shu'aib. Recite from ayah number 16 to 26.
Yeah, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد.
تلقى المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد.
جاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد ونفخ في الصور ذلك يوم الوعيد وجاءت كل نفس معها سائق وشهيد لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا فكشفنا عنك غطاءك فبصرك اليوم حديد
This is the Dean Show. 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 This is the Dean Show.
So from that, I've really come to understand that to be a Muslim, to be someone who says they've surrendered and submitted to the will of God, is to be in harmony with everything around you and to be a benefit to everything.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Creator, He gave us a life plan. He told us what to do. He gave us, goals and what He expects from us.
It has roots in Islam because the first man who was created, Adam, he was neither a Jew or a Christian, but he submitted himself to God. Abraham, he didn't submit to anyone in creation. He didn't even hear in any of these religions. But when he was told to do what? Submit to the will of God, that's Islam.
Attached to his preconceived notions. Yes. And if he looks with an objective eye and an open heart, he'll see it. Unless Allah for some reason has something over his eyes because of something that we don't know is in his heart.
You had from 1980 to 2005, you had the FBI data report showing that now from all these years that only 6% had any links to Islam. 94% were people who had nothing to do with Islam.
This is the Dean Show. This is the Dean Show. This is the Dean Show. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to our season premiere of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. I'm your host, Yusuf Karma, and today we're discussing the differences between confidence and arrogance and the related implications. So we discussed earlier about the qualifying the terms, how to define arrogance and confidence. We're currently discussing how to develop self-confidence within the individual, and we stop on Brother Idris.
Yeah, I think a clear way to establish self-confidence is thiqqa binafsi is to set clear goals. Mm-hmm. Set goals that are your strengths, so that you can build this knowing that I know my strengths, and start learning your strengths and goals, so that when you accomplish the goal, how when you feel good whenever you say for instance a college student, you go to college to graduate. When you graduate, you set the goal to graduate. Yeah. When you graduate, you're going to feel confident. Mm-hmm. You feel like, I did this, mashallah. Of course, you have to know that you didn't do it of your own. You did it, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through your skills and His blessings. But set these goals, make them realistic. Don't make it, I'm going to be, I think there should be close and long-term goals. focus on the close ones as the long-run terms come up, and this will help your self-confidence. And also, another thing would be is to make sure that when you're doing this, to balance it out, knowing that who you are, have humility. You know, remember who you are and your place in the world and who Allah is. Once you know who Allah is, nobody can be arrogant. You know, it's very difficult. I can't say no one, but it's very difficult because Iblis was arrogant and he knew Allah. But it's very difficult to be arrogant when you know Allah. So this will help you, inshallah. Set goals, fulfill them to the best of your ability, and remember who Allah is and yourself, and travel the world and look at those people who are below you and to keep yourself in check.
Yeah, that reminds me of a game we used to play called Raising the Bar. It's like talking about setting goals and achieving goals, setting your own standards, where it would be two people on two sides, and there would be a bar in the middle. And you would jump over the bar, and every time you jumped over, they would raise it higher. And they said, raise the bar, and you would have to jump over it. So sometimes in our own lives, we have to raise the bar for ourselves, right? And every time you jumped over the bar, you got a little bit more, comfortable, a little bit more confident, maybe even arrogant a little bit, like, I got this, right? Until you tripped over the bar, and then you had to recollect yourself. Get the reminder. So sometimes if you can raise the bar for yourself, it's something that's beneficial. But
yeah, okay. I think one more quality for enhancing your self-confidence is to surround yourself with honest, positive people. They're honest with you. They're not fooling you. They're not like hypocrites. They're trying. You are the best. You're good, and they try to give you false confidence. It will change into arrogance soon. But they're honest. Like they tell you what they see, and they are positive. Like sometimes when you do something good, they tell you it's good.
Sure.
When you do something bad, they don't tell it to you in this negative way that like you cannot do it. You're not the one for the mission. It's like no. They tell you that you did something wrong, but it's in a good way. Yeah. Like our Prophet and his companions used to do with each other. Also, another quality is to put your trust in Allah. It's like this reminds me with the scene of a movie. I'm a movie addict, so please forgive me for this. But it's like a movie about pirates. So this pirate, he cut his heart out and put it in a chest, in a box, out of his chest and put it in a box, and then no one can kill him. So he was very self-confident, like he went through all dangers of the sea and no one can kill him because he entrusted his heart to the one he loves in the movie. So I think about this in our real life. If you entrust Allah with yourself and you have this full, complete, perfect trust in Allah that He will never guide you wrong. He will always guide you to the straight path. Of course, no one can beat you. You will go through everything. You have the self-confidence that no one can break, because you have your trust and your confidence in the correct person or entity. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you entrust Allah with yourself, you have faith in Allah that you take like whatever ways or reasons for success, and then you depend on Allah to grant you the success. So you're away from arrogance. You're not going to be arrogant because you know it's not you who did this. You just took the ways of success or the reasons of success. But Allah, who is who granted you this success or this good skills or talents that you have, or whatever blessings you have in your life. So trust Allah with yourself, and also surround yourself with positive, honest people.
Wow. And to the point of surrounding yourself with positive people, I think that's so crucial. I'm thinking of the butterfly. I just read something interesting on the butterfly. It says that the butterfly is colorblind. So the butterfly doesn't know that it has beautiful wings, right? But the onlookers can recognize the beauty in the butterfly. So sometimes we have really beautiful traits, but we don't know it ourselves. But other people look at us like, wow, you have these beautiful traits about you. I'm like, what? It's just me. I'm regular, you know? But other people can see it. So when other people validate it within you, start to think about it like, wow, maybe I do have some good characteristics about me. So.
Yes, I totally agree, and also I believe that as long as you are going to be surrounded by positive people, good friends, as long as you trust Allah and trust your abilities, so in that case you will be very self-confident. You are going to be able to develop yourself, develop your abilities to be able in a very good community and society as well. Now let's get, and also as long as you are applying the Holy Quran instructions and Sharia, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ approaches and ways of dealing and handling the whole life's problems. So in that case, I believe that we're going to be the only model that you have to be able to copy and imitate him. Also, check Prophet Muhammad ﷺ home and life and way of dealing. He's very humble. And also at the same time very self-confident. وَكَمْ مِنْ فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةٍ كَثِيرًا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ, which means that as long as you trust in Allah and you trust in your self-abilities, you can do whatever you want. You can reach your goal. So, again and again and again. تَرَكْتُ فِيكُمْ مَا إِن تَمَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِ لَن تَضِلُّوا بَعْدَ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَسُنَّتِي. I left something that you will not be able to get lost as long as you are going to be able to attach or even connected or applying the instruction, which are the Holy Quran and my way of life or approaches and so on. So as long as I'm going to be able to say something to develop the self-confidence, it's going to be a good worshipper, be real Muslim, be a real Muslim. That will be the only point that I'm going to add at that point.
And this reminds me with the dua our Prophet ﷺ used to say, and of course I'm paraphrasing in English, oh Allah, don't abandon me to myself, not even for a blink of an eye. So because if Allah abandons you to yourself, of course the self will guide you to the arrogance that we're talking about, which is totally different from being confident. So confident is you're being confident is when you're with Allah. Being arrogant is when you're with yourself or by yourself. Yeah.
Very good. I just remember the whole concept of people saying I'm self-made. I hate that. I hear a lot of people. There's no such thing as a self-made person. Even if you take the supreme out of it, right? And every successful person needs people in their lives to make them successful. You know, you can't do everything by yourself. So it's something that's completely irrational. And it's like kufr as well to say that I did it by myself, you know, just subhanAllah.
It's like what happened with Qarun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Like he used to say like, this is all me, I self-made myself.
Yeah, he was self-made.
I'm intelligent, I'm smart, and then he was drowned with all his money, and like Allah made him a clear example to people, don't be arrogant. Like it's not you, I made you. It's like you made this by my help and my guidance. So it's not like, it's not you. Like you have to admit that Allah granted you these blessings, these fortunes, these whatever you have. Allah granted you this. It's not you that made them. Okay, you can give yourself like some credit, like I helped, you know. I took, as we said, I followed the ways of success or the ways Allah guided me to. But it's not like I did it 100%. This is not right.
You know, when you were talking, it made me think about, I remember that hadith, but you beat me to it, but it made me reminded me, because when you think about the Rasulullah sallallahu, you know, he was the most confident man. Has anyone ever, even non-Muslims, ever claimed the Rasulullah wasn't confident? No. This is unheard of, because he was the epitome of confidence. But this dua shows you the balance.
Exactly.
You know, he was confident, but he didn't want to be left to himself. He knew it didn't come from him. He knew that tawfiq came from Allah. So this is his life, once again, gives us the perfect picture of what we should be striving to try to achieve, inshallah.
وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ.
Exactly.
And another ayah, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. Upon Allah, the reliers should rely on. That's it. So I'd like to say that, you know, for an instance, most people nowadays are so arrogant to admit when they do something wrong. They completely deny it. So they go from arrogance to lying, you know,
to denial.
Yeah, and then to blaming other people for the fault they did, not other people did, you know. So subhanallah, you know, I'm just, you know, I don't know what to say. You know, in another ayah it says upon Allah, you know, some people they say when you have self-confidence and you want to develop it, you have to know that, you know, قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا. Whatever that happens from Allah alone. So let it come, you know, bring it on. I don't mind. So you have to be confident to face shaitan and anyone, you know, who's astray. And even if you saw something wrong, you have to admit it and say, that's wrong, you did something wrong, you're arrogant. And that's, tell him that, يعني, إن الله لا يحب من كان مختالا فخورا. Allah does not like whoever is arrogant and pride.
Yeah,
Is that right?
proud of
Pride.
himself.
Yes. So, Pride and Prejudice. I've read the novel, and it's all about arrogance, you know. It's about standing tall, giving cheek to the people, and, you know, I want this and I want that, and you know, it's not our life. We're Muslims. We're so humble, you know, but we're not humiliating ourselves, you know.
So now,
it's always self-respect.
How do you begin to remove that sort of arrogance? If you find those traits within yourself, how do you begin to deconstruct that within yourself?
First, you have to know your place. You have to know that Allahu Akbar, you know. However you were big, Allah is bigger than you. So, however you're strong, Allah is stronger than you. If you try to do some injustice to people, Allah will, you know, He won't do injustice for you, but He'll give you what you deserve, you know.
Yeah, sure.
يعني إن الله حرم الظلم على نفسه. He forbidden unjust doings, you know, unjust deeds. So you have to know that Allah is above all. You have to know that Allah hates those who are arrogant. ولا يدخل الجنة من كان في مثقاله ذرة كبر. This hadith should be enough for anyone who's arrogant to put himself in the right place where he belongs, that he will never enter Jannah if he still is arrogant, you know. So that's it. I mean, choose. You have to choose. Do you want Jannah or do you want Jahannam? وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Do you want confidence or do you want arrogance? I mean, drop the arrogance and be confident. You know, I won't tell you to humiliate yourself. Just be confident. Be confident. That's all. You know that Prophet ﷺ, you know, and Allah, Islam, you know, not Islam, all Semites religion, you know, اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله. You know, because why? Because they thought themselves were so big. You know, they thought themselves better than the people of Israel. You know, they thought themselves the one who, yeah, they were chosen, but chosen to deliver a message. But you don't hide it until I decide what's good and what's bad for people. You understand me? That's it.
Yeah, sorry. Brother Idris?
For me, I would add, just to be quick, because I know we're running out of time, is I would add, of course, after knowing who Allah is, add to that shukr. You know, knowing who Allah is and knowing your place, and on top of that, being thankful for what He gave you and understanding that He's the one who gave it to you. Once you have shukr, you can't have kibr. Doesn't make sense. They're two polar opposites. So you need to be thankful for what Allah has given you, and know that, you know, pay attention to people who have less than you. And that's one easy way to be thankful for what you have, because knowing that when you see someone who has far less than you and so many more problems than you, you start thinking, wow, I don't have any room to complain. I feel like a hypocrite complaining, you know, what do I have any room to say anything?
Yeah, sure.
So on top of that, the last thing I would say is that you need to look at the Rasulullah, look at his humility, learn from him.
Yeah.
Look how he entered, you know, after what they did to him in Mecca. When he conquered Mecca, how did he enter Mecca? I mean, how many people would really do that after what they did? I mean, they really humiliated the Muslims, killed them, and so many things. Whenever he came back and he conquered Mecca, he entered on the back of a camel with his head down.
Sure.
Head down, and he didn't want to make the people feel like a massacre is coming. Because that's what most people of them thought, that he's going to kill us all. After what we did to them, this is logically what most people would do, is that, okay, now it's time. But this is real when there'll be no rahmah, real when you forgiveness, when you have the power to do something, but you don't. So this is all part of, you know, making controlling yourself. Is follow these examples, and alhamdulillah, you'll start changing.
Inshallah.
Like Salahuddin, he took his example, took the Prophet ﷺ example when he conquered Quds, Jerusalem. So was Fir'aun. You know, if you look at the story of Fir'aun, he was so arrogant, you know. He thought himself a god. That's it.
Yes, like what our Prophet and Salahuddin did is like the implication of trusting Allah and giving credit to Allah. It's not me who conquered Jerusalem. It's not me who opened Mecca. It's Allah. So I don't have any right to humiliate people or to to be arrogant with people. It's not. That's why my head is down, because it's not me, it's Allah.
Yeah, sure.
Like this is another point to add to the trusting Allah or giving credit to Allah of your success, and also to add to the breaking the arrogance in your heart is try to be honest with yourself. Make a list of your good points, and your bad characteristics, for example, and be honest, and try to work on improving yourself. It's like if you admit you have shortcomings, you're not arrogant anymore. So you try to work on these, try to change them into the better, and try to be a better person in the future. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yes, I believe like nobody's perfect, and we are dealing with different mentalities. But if you have the approach to be able to deliver the information to one of the people who is like an arrogant person, just deliver it in a very simplified and decent way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, like, go to Pharaoh or pharaohs of Egypt and say a very decent word. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this. Why? Because the good word will be able to be faster than the bad word when it comes to delivering the information.
Sure.
Or the strict word. Just deliver the information in a very decent way to the person that you would like to give him advice or a piece of advice or something like this, because you feel that he is doing bad. And I believe everything will gonna be okay, and as long as you are applying the Sharia, everything will gonna be okay. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Dear viewers, it's that sad time of the day again when we have to end our program. I want to thank our guests, Brother Yasser. I want to thank Brother Idris, Brother Amr, Brother Ahmed. Alhamdulillah, it's a very crucial topic. And we thank Huda for giving us the opportunity to be able to present these sort of things with this in this sort of forum. So until next time, dear viewers, I'm your host, Yusuf Korma. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, Allah, I'm calling your name, Allah. I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah. Your mercy is great.